Go ahead.
Well, folks, we're heading up country a little bit today to go get a pole. I don't know why, but a lot of cowboys, they see fence staves, dried out, weathered poles come in use for something. I'm going to use them for what we call a veranda. But anyway, that's also a good opportunity to school Chinaco. It's about 105 right now, and behind me, the temperature isn't the big deal here. It's the humidity. The clouds mean lightning, and that's what starts our fires. Our last fire is about 20 miles behind me to the west here, and it's out now. So as of today, we're safe. So for those of you in Australia that are curious, we're good. And speaking of Australia, Victoria is having hell with the virus again. And I know how to help you. I hate to be the one to tell you, but if you would wear what Ned Kelly wore, you'd be fine. The virus would be over, believe me. So just wear what he wore and you'll be all right. And our friend Rufus from the Auction Res, he's out of the hospital, I think, or at least in therapy, physical therapy. There's no point in him going to mental therapy. But he's out. Boyd, our other Navajo friend, he's still in a bed, I think.
No, he's all right.
He might be milking it, I don't know. Anyway, it's up and down like everybody else in the world, but I wanted to say hi to my friends up in Sonora. I had a really good time up there on the ranch, roping with the family. And to my friends in Montana where I was at, this is kind of what needs to happen with these colts. Take the time to take one with you when you're making a circle. And I think that pretty well covers everybody. So we're going to go up country and get a pole and drag it down back to the trailer. So, see you later.
And it might be more than you bargained for. It's an image up on the silver screen. And it's a ranch kid doing chores. Well, grazing rights, conservation, smokes are cheaper on the reservation. 16.
Now, folks, this is what's known as a sink. This creek goes underground here. And the folks in Nevada, they know all about this because of the Humboldt River and the Carson Sink and all the pioneers that died cutting across that way. And behind, we've been riding where she was shooting them quail. Everything below us, down country, it's emerald green willows and green cottonwoods, and they're growing just fine. So it shows you how the willows quit and the creek goes deeper, and it stays underground all the way to the river, which is probably 7 miles from here. But this is just kind of one of those things that's kind of interesting to me. And by the way, for those of you that live in California, especially Southern California, where we're standing right now was the freight line. This is where they used to bring the freight wagons up from San Fernando. San Fernando was the last outpost in the early days and was not anything to do with Los Angeles. That's where all the supplies came from. So the freight wagons would leave San Fernando and come up through here to the gold mines in the town of Isabella. And then on the other side of the mountains, that's where they went for the pipeline that was being built, where Mulholland stole all the water from the Owens Valley and took it to LA. So I'll only mention it probably several more times, but the water deal on the Navajo, there's something else I want you to remember, is that during World War II there was what they call the code talkers, and they were the Navajo soldiers that did code that was never broken, and they told the people in the rear what was going on in the front, and they were involved in D-Day. And because of the code talkers, the Navajo people will never know how many thousands of lives they saved during World War II. Literally thousands. And so in my heart, I know there's some of their relatives that are sitting there on the res with no water, no electricity, and that's wrong. So I'm not going to lay this cross down. I'm going to stay with it, and I hope somebody picks it up and everybody start talking to whoever you need to talk to and let them know that this is wrong. So now we're going to head up through the creek and then find the right pole I want and drag it down back to camp. So that's what's going on. Thank you.
And cowboys are opening baseball caps in empty space on McNally maps. And yucca, creosote and sage. Trailer parks in dusty towns, warm winds as the sun goes down, and dry creeks with history on the page. It's a place and it's a feeling, and sometimes it's just a state of mind. It may not be what you are looking for, but it's here in what you find. And it's all these things. It's the West. It can be anything you ever dreamed of.
Sharon Wade, say hello to everybody.
Than you bargained for. It's an image up on the silver screen, and it's a ranch kid doing chores. Well, grazing rights, conservation, smokes are cheaper on the reservation. 16 bales of oat hay to the ton, and sycamores and prickly pear, barrel racers with great big hair, and horses switching flies out in the sun. It's a place, it's a feeling, and sometimes it's just a state of mind. It may not be what you were looking for, but it's here in what you find. And it's all these things. It's the West. It may not be what you are looking for, but it's here in what you find. It's all these things. It's the West. Hey, starvation play on the pasture sign.
Just a loop and a half hitch. That'll get it back to camp. Now this is the second time I've done this. The first time I pulled one about like that, just to get him thinking about it. This one's got some more weight to it.
At a rural ride address, nothing very extraordinary, an ordinary tale of the West. Feeding cattle in a dry lot, beef pulp and glue mix, moldy hay, bony hip, sorry looking Raymer cross, hoping they could gain 3 pounds a day. Tin roof on the barn flapping in the wind, foot rot and pink eye and warble flies, 12 cc's of terramycin, just swinging our loops underneath the open skies. It's a tale of the West at a rural ride address. Nothing very extraordinary, an ordinary tale of the West. Those who've been there know what I mean. Lots of folks can sing this song, living the romance, living the dream. trying to make a living, trying to get along. A tale of the West at a rural route address. Nothing very extraordinary, an ordinary tale of the West, an ordinary tale of the West. A starvation place on the patch of sand, the railroad ties, an old rusty wire, driving them T-posts through the hard pan, hoping the price of feed wouldn't get no higher. Dehorning tar on your shirt, coffee, tobacco, Corona salve, worthless dogs sneaking around everywhere, and bad luck was the only luck we had. A tale of the West at a rural route address. Nothing very extraordinary, an ordinary tale of the West. Feeding cattle in a dry lodge, beef pulp and blue mix, moldy hay, bony hip, sorry looking Bramer cross, hoping they could gain 3 pounds a day. Tin roof on the barn flapping in the wind, foot rot and pink eye.
My little friend Captain Obvious up in Sonora, I want to show him this so he can laugh and understand what Chinaco's doing. I know that he never hears anything I say on the videos, he just wants to see the tongue sticking out. So that's for my little friend Captain Obvious up in Sonora. Character cowboy, the best thing I can describe him as. Now just so you know, this is how I pony him. I use a slick horn. If things fall apart, it's just going to slide and I'll have plenty of time to grab this side of it.
Trying to get along. A tale of the West at a rural route address. Nothing very extraordinary, an ordinary tale of the West, an ordinary tale of the West. Turn right on the gravel road before you reach the wind farm. It's rocky and a little rough, wide enough for 1 car. 1 mile south of Highway 10, 1 mile west of hell. A little bar on the desert floor, you can get a drink at Molly's well. Tin roof, plywood walls, old empty beer sign. Always a Harley parked out front, windows full of dust and grime. Open up the old screen door, hear the tinkling bell. Step across the linoleum and have a drink at Molly's well. There's frozen burritos in the microwave, And there's Dodger games on the black and white TV. And the sheriff, he don't ever come around. Nah, this ain't the kind of place he likes to be. Molly's there behind the bar. She never looked any better. She weighs all of 90 pounds, made of jerky and leather. Well, she might be 40 or 85, there ain't no way to tell. But the Pabst Blue Ribbon is always cold. Have a beer at Molly as well. No matter if you're flush or on the skids, in this dark oasis they won't ask you